The court hearing against former SAA board chairperson Dudu Myeni has been postponed. Myeni is facing charges for revealing the possible identity of a protected witness during the 2020 testimony at the state capture inquiry. Our reporter Heidi Giokos joins me now with the details. Heidi, good afternoon. Just give us the exact charges. What exactly has Ms. Myeni been charged with?
So even though the charges were not read out today in court because it was a very brief appearance, what we do understand from the National Prosecuting Authority is that Dudu Myeni is facing charges of defeating the ends of justice, also the contravention of the Commission Act. One must remember that the Commission was established and has its own acts and guidelines, to enable it to perform its functions as a commission of inquiry. And when Dudu Myeni revealed the identity of Mr. X, this was in contravention of one of its acts, because this specific Mr. X wanted his identity to be concealed. He feared for his life. He didn't want to be identified or known in the public, despite the fact that he came before the Commission to provide the necessary evidence that could help the Commission in its work. However, Dudu Myeni did mention his name, and of course this did not go in accordance with the Commission's Act, and this is why you had then chairperson of the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, Raymond Zondo, saying this is completely unacceptable and laid a criminal charge against Dudu Myeni.
And I think I remember she made little of it. She apologized, of course, and said it was the mere slip of the tongue. But given the context of South Africa now, knowing what has happened to some whistleblowers, Babita has lost her life. I mean, do you really think there was a sense of appreciation of what exactly she has done by revealing the identity of a whistleblower? Because it really exposes them. They become so vulnerable, Heidi.
Exactly, extremely vulnerable. And what makes this situation even more concerning is that Mr. X literally said he has nothing and he just wants to have a basic job to look after his family and not be identified by the media or by anybody else for that matter, especially because of the kind of evidence that he had presented to the state capture inquiry. He identified himself as the man being very close to Dudu Myeni at the time, indicating that his bank account was used to move money around for Dudu Myeni. So that's why it became so concerning. But if I can just add, Mfundo, what we do understand is the reason why there was a delay today or a postponement rather, in today's proceedings is because the defense, which is Dudu Myeni's legal team, has provided a response and documentation to the National Prosecuting Authority to respond and then to take this matter forward. We don't know the details around why, what is in those documents. It's confidential. However, it's something for the National Prosecuting Authority to consider, and we'll be back in court on the 4th of May. But let's listen to the National Prosecuting Authority with regards to those documents.
The accused lodged representations, and therefore as the state we then requested a postponement so that we can consider her representations and apply our mind, and we are hoping that by the 4th of May we would have been done with that process so that then we can present our decision in court.
Okay, can you maybe tell us what those documents entail? What are they asking for something? Are they asking for the charges to be withdrawn? What exactly do those documents represent that the defense has handed over to the NPA?
Well, it's a confidential document that cannot be shared with the public, but then the process itself of representation, it's a recourse mechanism that is available for both accused persons and complainants in criminal proceedings. So once representations are lodged, then a prosecutor gets to read them, and if the prosecutor's decision, it's actually a request to ask the prosecutor to review their decision to prosecute the accused. So once the prosecutor has gone through them and then decides then whether to stop the prosecution or prosecution should continue. So basically they still reserve the right to then take it forward should the prosecutor decide that prosecution should continue. So they may approach the office of the DPP up until the national level at the office of the National Director of Public Prosecutions.
Heidi, it's going to be interesting to actually establish what those representations are, because this is one of those easy cases that everybody spoke of, that she mentioned the name, everybody heard, and there's no disputing because she went on to apologize. It's just a matter of what should be the appropriate sanction in this respect. I mean, so it's going to be quite interesting to hear what representations could these be that now the NPA needs to consider.
Yes, I think it's definitely got to do with should she be found guilty, which in all likelihood that might be the case because this was broadcasted live. She even apologized for identifying Mr. X. What would be, you know, if there is sentencing or sanction or whatever the case might be with regards to her, if she is found guilty. But we tried to actually get a chance to speak to Dudu Myeni, and she dismissed us, and her legal team said that she will not be engaging with the media. And it's something that we've actually also seen during her delinquency trial, when she was declared a delinquent director by the Pretoria High Court, where she didn't really want to engage with the media. But it's going to be interesting to see how she also acts on the 4th of May, and whether or not the National Prosecuting Authority will consider this documentation that has been brought forward by her defence. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one to watch.
No, thank you very much, Heidi. That's our reporter, Heidi Giokos, that's been following that matter relating to Dudu Myeni. Now, more